Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, on this NPC Live, and we are going to be talking about what does this Nintendo Direct need in order to put Nintendo on top. Now, some would argue Nintendo's already on top. What do you mean? What like? Well, let's talk about the what I like to call the gaming holiday, which is typically June because of E3, right? Which there is no E3. Will there ever be E3 again? Who knows? But PlayStation has their showcase. Xbox has had their showcase. Capcom has come out of the woodwork. Ubisoft, right? All these different studios letting us know what to expect, what's coming out. And so I wanna ask the question, what does Nintendo need to do to come out on top, right? PlayStation did not hit very well for a lot of people. Kind of a disappointing showcase. Xbox, on the other hand, absolutely knocked it out of the park, showcasing games like Starfield, which is going to be huge, and many other games having some DLC, showing Fable. They had a very strong showing. So what does Nintendo need to show us in order for them to have a strong showing? So I'm waiting for people just to kind of roll in here. I'm gonna make sure I get my TikTok chat open. I can see hashtag TCH and Firestone are hanging out. What is going on? Welcome on in, everybody. Good to see you guys. And so we're talking what does Nintendo need in this direct? Well, what do I want? We're looking at the thumbnail here, and you can see Mario and the gang. I've also got Pokemon there, and I've got Animal Crossing. So a few of the things for me, for this to be a major win, and this doesn't mean that it can't win if it doesn't have these things, because they could surprise us and come out with some other things that I'm not even thinking about. But Isabel's never stopped tweeting. So Animal Crossing DLC is still very much a thing that I think is a possibility to reach the 40 plus million of us that have this game, own this game, love this game. And I think there is something here. I think there is still a chance that we see more Animal Crossing DLC. I think. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I think there is a chance, okay? Now, a known leaker who has been accurate on everything says there's a new 2D Super Mario Brothers game in the works. Well, what do we want from that? If a new Super Mario Brothers game is in the works and launching, what do you guys want to see? Okay, we still got a handful of people rolling in. Not everybody's here yet, but if a new Super Mario game is on its way, what do you want to see? Well, I want to see them get creative with power-ups, okay? I want to see I want to see at least as many power-ups as we saw in Super Mario Brothers 3. So for me, it would be taking the best parts of Mario Brothers 3, the best parts of Super Mario World, and combining those things, but then also just continuing with that Nintendo magic of what else can we see? Now, I've seen some people suggest, and we've talked about it, suggest that they would like to see a 2D Mario that's more in the style of the Mario movie. And that wouldn't be a bad thing. That wouldn't be a bad thing at all. My only request is that we see the power. The power-ups are my favorite. Okay, when it comes to Mario games, power-ups are my favorite. So power-ups are key, and then I want to care about the the bosses to some extent, right? Odyssey's bosses fell short for me with the brutals. I wasn't all that into them. I love the Koopa Kids, but I want to see them get creative with it. Like we kind of talked about it in the news minute, where seeing the Koopa Kids like create like mechs of themselves, and then that's the boss that we have to fight. It's not just the traditional, like, put them in a room and jump on them 3 times. Like, let's get some creativity with the bosses, but let's in the keep them in the family, if you will, right? Like, I love the Koopa Kids. I love Bowser Jr. I want to see them really like really showcased and have them kind of like really try to, prove themselves f- uh to dad, if you will, right? To try to like, really try to make Bowser proud. And so how do they go about doing that? Well, I mean, we can get creative. Like I said, they could create mechs that they end up controlling. Maybe they are in different vehicles. Like maybe one is in a tank, and maybe one's on the water with some kind of a boat that is shooting different cannons and just making it kind of maybe there's different stages to their boss fights. I just want to really see that Nintendo magic just sprinkled in to this new 2D Mario game that's supposedly on the way. I want the worlds to be as fantastic as like they were in Mario 3 and Mario World, and we saw a little bit of that in like the new Super Mario Bros. U with with like the what looked like the Picasso paintings. Those were great levels. So I want to give a quick shout out to people just jumping in here. I see SGTO Shia, what's going on? Good to see you. And so anybody else just hanging out, guys, we are tackling the question, what does this Nintendo Direct need to put Nintendo on top? What does it need? What does it need? So feel free to put your answers in the chat. I put out two videos this morning. That mention the potential. There's a remake of a Super Nintendo game. So I grabbed some footage of Super Mario RPG. I grabbed some footage of Chrono Trigger, threw those up on the up on TikTok and YouTube Shorts or whatever. And the amount of comments of people saying they would lose their minds if it was Chrono Trigger or Super Mario RPG. Like it's they're popular games. They're popular games. Mario, I would say, is hot right now. Very, very hot. So, Nintendo, please lean into your number one mascot for this upcoming direct. A 2D Mario is fantastic. If we saw Mario RPG also, I mean, I would be so excited because I've spent very little time with Mario RPG. I don't even know that I don't even think I've really played it at all. I think I had a buddy who had a save file who I might have like jumped in, but I was like jumping into an RPG like that where you don't really know, what's going on, what is the story here, that's some of the most enjoyable parts about about an RPG is the story elements. And so just kind of jumping in on somebody's save file didn't really do much for me, right? I know it's great. I know a lot of people love that game. But there's a time we talked about it at length yesterday on yesterday's show about the different games that could potentially be coming as a remake. I mentioned it on the News Minute, like Donkey Kong Country or Super Metroid, or uh, there's countless titles that it could be. So TCH over on TikTok says, "What if for the new game you get different sides of the story by using different characters?" So, okay, I kind of like this, where like maybe Peach has her own kind of side story, and Mario has his own story. Luigi, Toad. Maybe there's. I mean, what about some new characters that could be introduced? I just want them to be. I just want them to be really like. I want them to matter to the series, right? I keep falling back to the Brutals and how like there wasn't much substance there to them, which made them like forgettable. I don't want to see any forgettable characters in this potential new Mario game. And to really lean into the different strengths of Mario, Luigi, Princess, Toad, all that kind of stuff would be absolutely fantastic. I would love to see that kind of stuff. We've talked about all the different ways that Animal Crossing could be improved upon, and that would be fantastic. Guys, in order some of the things that would just absolutely knock this direct out of the park, I would love to see Smash get some more characters. I know it's probably not happening at all, but if Smash could get a little bit more love, I would be stoked. What are some things that we're sure we're going to see? Well, we need info on tons of different DLCs that we know are coming. Splatoon DLC. It hasn't been announced, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see some kind of DLC for Tears of the Kingdom. Pokemon's DLC. Now, a lot of times Pokemon has their own direct, so will we see something here? Hard to say. According to the leaker, they're saying that Detective Pikachu is going to get shown off. So that could be another potential game for this holiday. Because we really don't know any. We don't know any. But what games for you guys would really help this holiday just kind of be an absolute hit for Nintendo? Well, we can assume the Mario game is going to be out this holiday. We can assume that Detective Pikachu, if it's real, that will be out this holiday. Again, all assumptions. And if if we get this remake of the Super Nintendo game, whatever it is, whether it be Chrono Trigger, and again, I'm just making the assumption that Square is who Nintendo is working with on this remake, just because there's been such a fantastic partnership between Nintendo and Square through the life cycle of the Switch. Probably one of, if not the best supporter of the Switch when it comes to getting their games on there. Capcom probably a close second, or maybe even first. But Capcom and Square are really knocking it out of the park. Ubisoft's done a great job, done some, of course, been able to use the IP and get the Assassin's Creed games on there as well. I know there's Rabbids games, there's Mario, or there's Rayman games as well. So I mean, there's a number of third parties, but Square and Capcom to me really stand out as the ones that have done the majority of that have really helped push that system along and keep games coming. Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy, fantastic entries, right? Capcom with Monster Hunter and all the Resident Evil games and the Street Fighter collections, Mega Man. Like, again, they've knocked it out of the park. So Kevin H over on TikTok says Odyssey 2, and that's it. All they need is Odyssey 2, and they're good to go. And I mean, that would be great. According to the leaker, it's going to be a 2D Mario game, not a 3D, which, hopefully that's going to be okay for some people. I'm curious how well 2D will do in this generation, right? I feel like the 3D games, there's and again, based on just people that voice their opinion to me, like through lives and on Discord and stuff like that, I feel like 3D Marios have a little bigger pull than the 2D. I feel like the 2D may be something that is for a little older demographic. But again, you guys can let me know in chat, like, do you prefer 3D Mario or 2D Mario? And will you pull the trigger on a 2D Mario? Will it be something you jump into, no matter what? And Nintendo has this thing they can do with Mario, where it's like, well, we've got 2D, we've got 3D, and then we've got 3D World that plays like a 2D 3D game, right? Like it does both. But for me, thinking about jumping into to a traditional 2D Mario game gets me very excited. It really does. It really does. I want to see an open world where we get to explore and kind of go to different areas depending on how we beat levels. I want to see again some killer bosses, and I really want to experience the Nintendo magic that we had back in the 80s and 90s of when the 2D Marios were just reigning supreme, right? And I know there's probably a few people that would potentially disagree with me, but just the overall hype around around like Mario 3 and Mario World. I don't know that we can ever capture that again because there's so much information around us at all times and so many different games coming out and all of that. But to just see people get really excited. Could Nintendo get as creative as they did with Odyssey and potentially make Mario span the different timelines? We talked about that. I think that would be really cool. But they also kind of did that with Mario Maker. So do they need that same thing? I don't know. I don't know, but I can tell you this. When the the leaf was introduced in Super Mario Brothers 3 and Mario got like the raccoon ears and the raccoon tail, the conversations did not stop on the playground. Every kid was talking about it, talking about these new power-ups, right? The frog suit, the Hammer Brothers suit, and so on. With the Fire Flower's been a staple since the first game, and it's great, and I love that they've added Ice Flower. But I want them to create some power-ups for this next game that we can't wait for them to be in the follow-up game, right? As well as continuing to add new stuff to it. The squirrel suit in New Super Mario Bros. U, it was okay. It was okay. It did okay, but it didn't quite hit the way the Leaf did, the Tanuki suit, the and the way the cape. Super Mario World, like that was such a magical time. And when you saw Mario with that cape, just looking like a superhero, but he still had that like childlike quality to him because it was like tied around his neck exactly the same way like I would do when I was a kid, and a lot of us probably did when we were pretending to be superheroes. And I don't know, there was something that just kind of drew me into that aspect of it, as if like, Mario still had somewhat of an imagination. And that again, it was just me as a kid playing that and just honestly loving every minute of it. The other thing when it comes to a 2D Mario is I want to see how Nintendo can innovate with 2D. We look at games like Metroid Dread, like we talked about yesterday, and how there's things that can be happening in the background and in the forefront, and those kind of situations. I want to see, like I was saying, when I say I want to see the Koopa kids like create some mechs, guys, it was somewhat astonishing to see Bowser flying around in that clown car at the end of Super Mario World. And I want more moments like that. I want moments where the boss is coming out of the background and we have to jump on, maybe the hands are out, and then the Koopa Kid, if you will, is like the head at the top, and you got to jump off the hands to get up and and be able to damage the boss that way. I love that kind of stuff, and I want to see a massive evolution when it comes to the 2D Mario games. The other ones felt a little phoned in, and I want to see if they can really step that game up and give us that magic that they had in the 80s and 90s. TCH over on TikTok says, "What if they add a power up block that gave suits from other games like the cat and the raccoon? That'd be fantastic. Bring back as many of the old power ups as possible, but make sure that they, you know, not only have their purpose as far as like, well, I couldn't get to this area in this level without the cat suit, but I got one later. Let me backtrack on the map and then go and do this and unlock another route by beating the level that way." I love that kind of stuff when it comes to Mario games. Like, kind of give it that just that little bit of Metroidvania sprinkling, if you will, so that we can't get to certain areas without certain power ups. Like, I love that kind of thing. When you incorporate the flying that's in the games, I understand it kind of makes some of those a little bit tricky, right? Because it's like, well, I can just fly there. It's kind of like with Tears of the Kingdom, how we can just kind of build whatever we want and we don't necessarily have to do any of the puzzles the way they were designed. But one of the ways, the new Super Mario Brothers games did it, is they would give you the little mushroom. And it's like, if you didn't save that little mushroom, which was it was harder to control Mario because he was so floaty and tiny, and and B, you could just die easy, right? And I don't know about you guys, but as I'm thinking about the tiny mushroom, like, would it not be kind of fun that if they made a mushroom that made you so tiny, it actually shrunk like it shrinks Mario down to the point that the level looks just massive, and to even be able to like run underneath a Goomba because he got shrunk down so small. Like I think some stuff like that would be super intriguing. Like seeing the Mushroom Kingdom from a much tinier perspective, right? And maybe there's part of the storyline where like Mario's trying not to get stepped on, and it's almost like a Honey I Shrunk the Kids scenario, but with Mario. I wonder if there's something there, right? Like Nintendo's done a great job of leaning into like making Mario giant and just being able to trash levels and run through them. Well, what other things can they add? What about throwing a giant fireball in that situation that just kind of decimates things? There's so many ways that they can lean into and make um, just make Mario that much more fun. TCH says also, what if you can hold some items like a bag or an inventory, exactly like Super Mario Brothers 3? You could open your menu, select the item that you want, and then go and do that level. Like it will make me so excited if this upcoming 2D Mario game, if it's happening, again, grain of salt, feels as good and builds as much hype as Mario 3 and Mario World. Because again, it was just a magical time in gaming. It really was. So, uh, we touched on DLC, but let's get back to the question. What does the Direct need to do to put Nintendo on top? Well, Mario games are going to be huge. If Detective Pikachu is a thing, that'll be big. A SNES remake of a game that is well loved, that'd be big as well. I think that's going to get a lot of people excited. What about some old IP making a return? Punch Out, for F-Zero, Star Fox. Okay. What about the potential release of Metroid Prime 2? I think that would also be fantastic. Or we talked about in the news minute the possibility of a 2D Metroid game making its way to the Switch. But again, is it a full sequel to Dread? And if that is the case, are we even going to see it on this console? There's a good chance we won't. Finding out. So if Prime 2 can get released, and maybe it is another out now, maybe we get 3 directs this entire year from Nintendo, and each one says, yo, Prime is out now. I would not be upset if Prime 2 made its way to the Switch tomorrow and not only has this incredible storyline that we get to play through, but also online multiplayer. I am ready to play against you guys in a first-person shooter based in the Metroid world. I'm ready for it. I think it would be so much fun. There's a really, really good chance that Wave 5 for Mario Kart gonna be out tomorrow. What tracks do we want to see? What do we want to see from the next wave in Mario Kart? How many retro courses versus how many tour courses, and how many of these are going to be real world? I hope not many, honestly. The more we're in the Mushroom the more we're in the Mushroom Kingdom, the better it is, in my opinion. I love being there. I want to see new, Mushroom Kingdom, or just because I don't, Yoshi's World, not really Mushroom Kingdom, kind of is, I guess. That track was fantastic. More like that. That's what we need. That's what we need, in my opinion. Is there anything that could be done to the sports titles or Super Mario, like the Mario Party games? Some DLC for any of those, I think, would also be fantastic. Does Nintendo care enough to like try to bring Strikers back? Get it to where people are excited to play about it, or do they just take their money and run on that one? I don't know. So far with the leaks that we have, if the show is, if they're correct, we're already in for an absolute banger of a show. But again, for me, you get some of the if Animal Crossing DLC hits, it's game over. Nintendo wins. If Punch Out gets announced, or F-Zero, or Star Fox, they win. I would be so excited. If this new Super Mario Brothers game is anything like I'm hoping, that's going to be absolutely incredible. Seeing more from Pokemon, going to be great. If it is Detective Pikachu, that's another big winner right there. I can pretty much guarantee you guys, based on the way the retailers have been leaking, uh, accidentally listing the Persona game, we're going to see something on that front. You know, what does Square have? Anything? Is it a remake of Chrono Trigger? It is a remake of Super Mario RPG? I don't know. Potentially. Potentially. Could we see a remake of Donkey Kong Country? Would that get people excited? Potentially. I think that potential is there. Are they going to give us some more games on Nintendo Switch Online? See, there's a number of things that it's not going to take too much, especially with some of the out nows that I think Nintendo can really knock it out of the park and take us into the remainder of the summer and the winter. You know, because we're gonna get Pikmin info. We're gonna get Everybody 1-2 Switch. I honestly, guys, I've said it before, but I believe that Everybody 1-2 Switch can be a fantastic game. One, I hope it has online. I hope the way the mini games are set up that we are able to play as a group together. I think that would be fantastic. Similar to like Jackbox, that would be absolutely amazing. I hope Pikmin has online. That would be amazing. And there's so many like older IPs that Nintendo could lead into to really just round out this direct and make it something incredible. We got 40 minutes, so there's plenty of time to talk DLC. There's plenty of time to talk new games, and there's plenty of time to talk sequels. I think Detective Pikachu has a chance to be huge, and I really hope it is. So I want to keep this conversation going. Let me know, guys, either in the Discord or on Twitter at N64Josh. Let me know what you think. We're doing a full episode of the direct predictions tonight, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. Come hang out, share your opinions and have your voice heard on tonight's episode as the four of us just chat about like what we want to see and how uh, how this direct really needs to knock it out of the park for each of us. So we'll probably dive a little deeper into this particular question. If you guys want to come hang out in the Discord, n64josh.com/Discord. If you're over on TikTok, there is a link in my bio that has the Discord link there. Appreciate you guys so much for listening, tuning in. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for being a part of the conversation and keeping these shows, making these shows so much fun. I greatly appreciate you. So I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.